Welcome to the Women Business Leaders Group. The purpose of this group is to make meaningful connections with like-minded women in business for personal growth and professional development, a supportive environment, and a safe space to share our experiences, inspiration and motivation to share collective wisdom, stories, and encouragement, and personal networking in a community for women and run by women. I love that. We invite you to add your specialty if you haven't done so after your name in participants. Please introduce yourselves with your name and specialty as you participate in today's session. If you'd like to add your information to the chat after you speak, you are welcome to do so. Include your contact information, your specialty information. We love that. We are here to network and learn from each other. So we start with our first topic for today's session. Welcome to Heather Rose. Heather, raise your hand so we can see where you are. There you are. Heather was a high school Spanish teacher who saw the power in educational technology. In a bold leap, she transitioned into revolutionizing learning experiences through the use of technology. Her vision was instrumental in the successful implementation of providing Chromebooks to all students district-wide. She also brought more technology into the classrooms. Today, she will share how she built her business from $2.5 million to over $100 million as she was awarded multi-year contracts for educational technology. She is a champion of progress in the educational field, and her work is a testament to the transformative opportunities of education-powered technology. Heather?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Pam. I'm super excited to be here with you all today. This is actually going to be only my second time I'm doing a public speaking event such as this one. I did my first one in January, and it was really empowering, and I loved every minute of it. So again, I feel really honored to be here with you all today. So today I want to talk about value proposition. What does it take to be successful in the working business environment, no matter what vertical you work in, whether it's real estate, accounting, healthcare, law field, medical. When you're a leader in your industry, there are key components that you bring to the table that bring success. So I'm just kind of curious. I want to ask you all, what do you feel are the three components that are the most crucial to have business success? And maybe just one or two people can kind of chime in if you are so bold to participate. I'm curious to see what you think those components would be.
We have an answer in the chat. Ability to make decisions.
Relationships.
I love ability to make decisions, problem solve. I actually agree with that. That is definitely a key component. Is there anybody else that would like to chime in? Oh, I love it. Yes. Bingo. Relationships. Somebody said it. Knowing who your ideal client is and what keeps her up at night. I love it. Pain points. Oh my God. This is amazing, because I was afraid I might hear crickets and that I'd have to kind of like lead you all, but this is amazing that everyone's participating. Okay, so what I found is relationships is the number one component to building a successful business, followed by being responsive and referral-based selling. And of course, there are a number of other factors that help me along the way become successful, but I really want to hone in on the relationships. I want to tell you a story that spans, it feels like a lifetime. So just a little bit of history about what I do so that I give you some context, because I know that you all are not from the educational technology space. So I'm considered what they call in my industry a dealer. So I am the liaison between the school districts, the K-12 school districts, and the manufacturers. So the technology manufacturers that produce, for example, computers, audiovisual equipment, software. I am considered a technology consultant. I am a one-stop shop that has access to thousands of products across the verticals. I specifically deal with K-12, but we have access to all kinds of things. So I am the go-to person in the K-12 space where people have a need for technology and they come to me. They tell me their problem and I come to them with solutions. I give them options. I help vet the options. I orchestrate meetings. I bring in experts and we decide how to move forward and what's in the best interest of the customers. So that's just a little bit of how I operate, what I do, and how it's set up. So when I first started in this space, I was coming from being a high school Spanish teacher. I didn't know anything about technology, really. I knew a little bit about the technology that I was using, which was very limited. It was limited to my computer and an overhead projector. Because when I was a teacher, we're talking about many years ago. I was 20, my early 20s when I started being a teacher. And I soon realized that I had a passion for sales and I just wanted to figure out the trajectory. I thought that keeping in the education space would be a seamless transition and that I could really impact student outcomes if I just took a chance and exited out of teaching and into the sales arena. So I come from a history of salespeople in my family, and I think that to be successful in sales, I think you have to have it inside of you. It has to be part of your makeup and your DNA because it is a competitive world out there. And when you have to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, it can be really scary, especially when you don't know a lot about the content or the field that you're selling in, and there's a steep learning curve and things like that. And so that's kind of how I felt when I first started. I was really afraid. I didn't have a high technical acumen, but one thing I did understand were relationships. So today I want to talk about coming into the territory at $2.5 million and how I built the territory to 115 million in 2023, how I came to meet a guy named Wayne, how that relationship was transformative in my life, how it started out as a customer-vendor relationship that morphed into a family relationship. I always joke around and say I adopted Wayne, because our families now vacation together. And he is one of the most amazing, positive influences that in my life, I think everything in life happens for a reason. And there is a reason that I met Wayne that very day, 15 years ago. I met Wayne through a referral. There was a mutual vendor that we both worked with. I was at a trade show. And Jody came over to my booth. She was a vendor that sold 3D glasses. And we started having a conversation. Jody had been working with Clark County School District for a number of years. And I was about 2 years into my tenure at my company. And I was still basically building and learning, and I didn't know everybody that I needed to know at that point. She said, "Hey, do you know Wayne?" I said, "Wayne who?" She said, "Wayne Lawson." I said, "I don't." And she said, "You need to know Wayne Lawson. He's at Bob Miller Middle School. His school is ranked in the top 50 in the US. He's passionate about education. He cares about kids. He would be instrumental in building your business because of the level of success that he has had at his school and how he is transformative in his thinking." I said, "Amazing, done." Called Wayne the next day, made an appointment, sat down with Wayne. I did a lot of listening. I wanted to know what Wayne was doing at his school to impact positive change. I wanted to know his vision. I wanted to see how I could help. I was all in with Wayne. His passion was infectious, contagious. I was excited just sitting there listening to his vision. He told me he was pioneering a new technology at his school. This is quite a few years ago. So at this time, the climate in Clark County School District was that they were buying 50,000 iPads a year through Apple directly. And they also had a computer contract with Lenovo. And those were the two paths that schools could take if they wanted to make purchases in that area. And Wayne was in the middle of trying to establish a one-to-one initiative. But Wayne did not want to use Windows laptops, and he didn't want to use iPads. Wayne wanted to use Chromebooks, and he wanted to use Google. The problem was that Google wasn't a sanctioned operating system at the district level. So that posed a problem for Wayne, because if Wayne wanted to pioneer Chromebooks and Google at his school, he was going to have to go against the grain, and he was in jeopardy of getting in trouble with the district by not following the rules. Now, Clark County School District is in the top 5 in the United States. There are over 350,000 students in the school district, and there is a lot of red tape and bureaucracy. So Wayne honestly didn't care. He didn't care if he got his wrist slapped later on. The only thing that Wayne cared about was kids and improving student achievement and learning outcomes. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to be on board with you. And if we get in trouble, we'll worry about it later after we already basically win a Chromebook contract. So I had this vision in my head. I got one of the top rated schools in the nation pioneering something brand new, and I want to be a part of this because I want to make my mark. I mean, I was just so driven to be successful. I wanted to figure out, how am I going to be successful? So I listened. I was real with Wayne. I was authentic. I cared about the relationship. I was highly responsive. I was always available when he needed something. He was my Vanna White. He was my guinea pig. He vetted product after product. He met with vendor after vendor. I met with him relentlessly week after week. I attached myself to Wayne like I was a sponge soaking it all in. I was the perfect student because his technical acumen was huge. So at this point, I kind of want to throw it out there. What are your thoughts about the meeting that I had with Wayne? What do you think happened next? Okay, I'll kind of guide you guys a little bit. So we vetted a lot of product with different manufacturers in the computer space. Wayne was super respected in the district, and schools wanted help. Schools wanted help from Wayne. So mentorship, somebody just chimed in. Wayne became my mentor. Exactly. So Wayne was instrumental in my journey from being a high school teacher to being a go-to technology consultant in the industry. Now, I'll just tell you that I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I signed up with my company at this time. I had no idea in the beginning how many hours it would take, how much work would be involved, how long things would take to come to fruition. I had a sales job before this job, and it was tough, but this job was a little bit different. And things require contracts in Clark County School District. Things require contracts have to go out for a competitive bid. There has to be a buying vehicle. And so there are a lot of components that are different in this sector than in the private sector. So in K-12 and the public sector, anything over $50,000 requires a buying vehicle, whether that is a contract or it can be in a contract is, you can have that in a couple of ways. One is a competitive bid, and another is when a district can join a cooperative agreement, which would be another agreement that was competitively bid out. So basically, I had a goal of being awarded a Chromebook contract, and I saw the opportunity with Wayne, and I realized I needed to hone in on the opportunity with Wayne, leverage the relationships with Wayne and the other schools and the vendors, and start getting the ball rolling. So schools started writing checks for Chromebooks. Some schools in the district had discretionary funding. They were able to make their own decisions, and they didn't need district approval. Wayne's school was one of those schools. So he was able to write a check to get Chromebooks at his school. And he became my internal champion. And so he started referring me out, and schools started writing checks. And what got created was like this buying frenzy. But at the end of the day, what happened was that schools that could write checks to get the technology, they were the haves. And then we had poor schools that couldn't afford that, and they were the have-nots. And that was a looming problem for the district, because it really wasn't fair that some schools had that luxury and some schools didn't. And so we put a lot of pressure on the IT department and the purchasing department to find a solution. And so I started running into a little snag because the district started approving the purchases from the schools when they went through their formal process of submitting a PO. But Lenovo had the contract and I didn't. So all of those orders started going to Lenovo. And so I said, oh my God, I just spent all this time and now a competitor is getting all of my hard work. So a lot of people would have been at a crossroad. Is there anybody that could chime in and tell me what you would have done at this point? You just spent 2 years trying to create a need for a new technology in the district. And now all the hard work that you have done is now basically going to Lenovo, a competitor. So anybody kind of chime in on what the next step they would have taken? I know it's a little hard because you're not in my space. So I'll basically just tell you, I kept going. You have to look at the big picture and the whole opportunity. And I knew that if I kept going and I created this big, huge urgency for Chromebooks and to shift change, that they would do their own competitive bid for Chromebooks. And that's exactly what happened. So they put out a Chromebook bid and I wound up being awarded because I was controlling the entire opportunity with the customer, with the vendors. In exchange for the meetings that I had with the vendors, they gave me a protected lower deal registration pricing. And at the end of the day, when the award came, I was the lowest price. And I'll never forget getting a phone call from Wayne, because he was actually part of the committee that evaluated the Chromebooks. And he told me that there were 30 samples of Chromebooks. And out of the 30, 29 were mine. Now, this is before they made the formal award. So when he called me, I said, oh my God, this is the jackpot, right? So it was a really, really awesome feeling because I'm telling this in a very short period of time, but we're talking about, this took like 3 or 4 years to come to fruition. And so the moral of the story is that these types of large sales, they take an enormous amount of time. The sad truth is that most people aren't patient enough to see out the fruits of the labor. And they drop out or they move on to a new role because they think that there are greener pastures, when sometimes it's best to go all in on something and do blood, sweat, and tears to see it through fruition. So at that time of the Chromebook Award, Wayne told me he had a new opportunity to be the educational director of technology at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And I said, wait, no, you can't leave me now. We're just getting started. He said, Heather, it's been great working with you, but I really think that this is the next trajectory in my career. And I said, no, please don't take the job. I want to offer you a position. So fast forward, Wayne joined me in my journey, and together we were able to increase the revenue so much more from 2.5. Like I said, we got to 115. And then there was the pandemic and COVID and the need for one-to-one in the industry. And it, all the hard work paid off. And basically we became the top team in the nation. And so, yeah, so we basically created a milestone in the sales numbers, something that, we never thought was imaginable, but, sometimes you just take one step and you put it in front of the other, and that's what you get. And that's kind of what I did and what we did together. And that relationship with Wade turned from vendor relationship to colleague to now he's part of my family. So just to recap, relationships, they drive the world. And it's so important to be real and authentic and honest and be sharing with your customers, because you remove that salesperson hat and they see you as a human being. And when they see you as a human being, you can take that relationship to the next level. And it's those true relationships that really positively impact our lives. And, the financial rewards, that's one thing, but the financial rewards is not the most important lesson here. It's that the relationships impact people's lives, and the change that you can make and the positivity that you can have on others is so much more rewarding than any financial gains. So
that was fabulous. So 115 million book of business. That's pretty impressive. I think, how many people in the room wish they would do that? I'm one. I would be a hero to Forrest. Any questions for Heather? Amanda, you have to unmute yourself. Sorry.
I realized I was muted. Where do you go from here? What's your next step, right? So you huge numbers, huge expectations now. Where do you go from here?
Yeah. So I left my company. So the company that I was at, I left it at the end of December for a variety of reasons. Wayne and I joined CDW, which is a similar company that is much bigger, publicly traded, and we are going to try to duplicate our success again. And I think from here, I'm going to basically be a consultant. I think going into sales consultancies and coaching other reps how to have this kind of success in the large districts. So I think moving forward, if I think about, a few years out from here, I will consult with companies to help their new reps hone their skill through virtual coaching, keynote speaking, maybe being with them in the field, and have kind of a menu of services that I can help others achieve similar levels of success.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
We're going to move on to our next topic, strategies for winning new clients and visibility. And there is, if you go to LinkedIn, and I'm going to let Rhonda talk about this a little bit. If you click on your picture on LinkedIn in your profile, it is possible that you're not showing to everybody. So if somebody finds out, I hear the name Karen Kaplan, I go to Karen's profile on LinkedIn and I don't see a picture, and I move on because I don't see her picture. Is she a real person, right? And there is a visibility setting on LinkedIn that you can be seen on and off of LinkedIn or by people outside your network. I sometimes do resumes for people on the side, right? And most of my clients cannot be seen. You wonder why you're not getting a job. I don't see a picture. And I said this to somebody the other day. I don't see your picture. What do you mean? I see it. Well, I don't see it. I don't have access. You click on that picture. Rhonda, am I correct about visibility on LinkedIn?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. You just need to know what your privacy settings are and who you're visible to, and if your photo is visible. Because a lot of times what happens is, excuse me, your photo doesn't become visible unless you're connected to somebody. And that's not, somebody may want to see you, but they may not want to connect with you. They may just even want to follow you. So make sure that your privacy settings are set in a way that your picture does show up and that it is a current picture, because that's the other thing. Oftentimes I'll look at LinkedIn and I'll go, oh my gosh, when I meet that person on Zoom, they look nothing like the picture that I saw on LinkedIn. It's kind of like match.com, the picture is 10 years old. So just be aware of that, because we're all visuals. So, we want to see, and the other thing too, just on that same note, you have an option to verify your profile on LinkedIn. And I recommend that you actually do. LinkedIn doesn't get your information. They use a third party that everything's encrypted. So if you haven't verified yourself, I recommend it's a practice that you do.
So they actually moved that privacy. You don't have to go under privacy and settings to increase your visibility. You click on your picture and it gives you the options in a little drop-down menu, and you should click on anyone can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you? I want to hear stories. How are you staying visible in your industry as a top leader? What kinds of things are you doing?
Well, Pam, I'll jump in for a sec if you want.
Yeah, sure.
One of the things is actually, if you know that less than 4% of the people on LinkedIn are posting, just start posting on a regular basis. And if you don't have the time, use an AI tool to do it. But there's also another thing that you can do, and that is LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to get a top voice, which is basically just commenting on articles. And that's another thing that gets you visibility, because you get that badge. It's called a top voice badge. And there are so many categories that people don't know about that it's so easy to get them because they're not overcrowded versus, if you went to get one for marketing, forget it. It will never happen because there's so many people going after it. But so I would say comment on other people's posts, post yourself, go after the top voice badges, join groups, and literally just reach out to people because out of sight is out of mind.
Oh, 100%. Sarah Hewitt in New York. Are you there? Sarah?
I am there. Sorry.
Oh, yay.
I was muted.
I was wondering how an attorney stays visible in her industry. How do you stay visible?
So LinkedIn is key. And some other social media, which either the firm or we post to. So Facebook and all of those types of things. And then networking.
Network.
Like High Rise and other groups.
Mm-hmm.
Because the relationships here are also super valuable. And the referrals.
Karen?
Another thing that we're doing is starting some lunch and learn programs to add some value to a potential prospect and having them incorporate people from different departments within their companies, like operations and packaging and marketing, and creating some sort of a lunch and learn that provides some high level value add that's interactive. So we can do workshops for pay, but in order to begin connecting and getting engaged and try to beginning to develop a relationship, we felt it would be good to start doing a couple lunch and learns as a test drive. And we coming up the next month. And I think it would be a great outreach tool for people that we've met through networking events to kind of get to that next step so that there's a way to be introduced into other potential decision makers within a business without, giving away too much, but doing something to add value. It's a short period of time. And I think people can begin to see what you would be like to work with and begin to build some trust. And I think those are really important components of somebody saying yes to a project or hiring you to do some work with them.
I remember how many lunch and learns there used to be before COVID, and they really haven't come back. Mm-hmm. I think that's smart. They're
coming back now.
I got to go to Chicago for yours.
Come on.
Alexi? How do you stay?
Oh, I was just going to ask a question about lunch and learns. Are you having good attendance at those?
We're test driving it within the month, so I'll let you know.
Okay.
The next time we reconvene, I can do a little summary. But the person that we've connected with, this one company, they're looking for some growth, and they have CPG products. And this person's in their packaging division, and it's an opportunity. She had hosted a different lunch and learn that went well. So she's tested out within her own company. So I feel like we're coming in to add some, thought leadership about our business, brand strategy and packaging design. And that sort of fits within where she's coming from. Yet we can build upon some other areas of expertise like branding and packaging design, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
So fingers crossed.
Let us know how it goes. Lorraine, how do you stay visible in your industry?
Hi, everyone. I go to a lot of networking events. I try to make it a habit of posting on LinkedIn and Facebook. My company makes it very easy. We have like a platform that you can kind of just post through there. So yeah, I just always like out and about meeting people too. I think it's just if you're just nonstop every day, right? Like just I think your small goals can hit over time.
Yeah, so true. And where are you located, Lorraine?
I'm in New York.
Yeah, I thought so. And what's your specialty? Your financial advisor.
Yeah, I have a practice with New York Life.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations. You just moved
Thank-
over there, right?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Nice. Tawana in Philadelphia, how do you stay visible in your industry?
I have been going to in-person networking events. I have to admit that I'm kind of zoomed out. Um, I'm even when I take on new clients and do this what discovery calls, I would rather actually have a phone conversation than to hop on Zoom. It's at this point triggering because I was on Zoom so much during the pandemic. And I'm an extrovert and I just love meeting people. So I do a lot of networking. I try to go to at least 3 networking events a month. And strategically, you know, at first I was just like going to everything, but now I do it strategically. I don't necessarily, I do business strategy and consulting. So I try not to go to events where just people like myself are there. So I try to, I mean, like I signed up for like an HR conference. So that kind of stuff. So the in-person stuff really helps me stay visible. I also post on, and I do have a podcast.
Oh, what's your podcast?
It's called Thrive Off the Ladder.
Can you put the link in the chat?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great. I do find, I mean, Amanda, you tell me, shaking hands makes a difference.
Oh yeah. That's, you know what I'm going to talk about next. So I'm holding back so I don't have to like, I don't want to give all the sauce out.
Let's go right into it. She's going to do a knowledge transfer about the power of being in the room. Amanda.
So I'm Amanda Webster. I'm the COO of a business funding company, but one of my passions is thought leadership and sharing wisdom, but also the importance of being in the room, capitalizing in. As much as these are great, and I'm not trying to downplay virtual events because, you know, I'm a chair of a virtual group that we have here at High Rise, but being actually in a room with people and shaking hands and relationships. And I think that's been an undertone for this whole meeting today. But it's also what this lovely lady was just saying, branching out. So I don't want to be in the room with a bunch of other funding people. I don't not like funding people, but I want to be in the room with people that I can learn from, grow from, and build relationships. If you're in the room and you're actually focusing on relationships, you don't have to pitch anything. You don't have to worry about telling them exactly what you can do for them or what they can do for you. You just talk and you organically build a relationship that is going to grow into something. And it doesn't always have to equal dollars. One of the most beneficial relationships I've had from being in the room is from an in-person mastermind group that I have. I've been in it for about 4 years now, and they have both virtual and in-person. I much rather enjoy the in-person. It's a 3-day big event that they do in Tampa. And I met somebody in the PR world and he's huge in the PR world, gets a lot of media placements. And I developed a relationship with him. I didn't immediately hire him. I didn't immediately cling to that side of it. And he didn't immediately become like an advocate of what I'm doing. But over the years of learning things and finding really interesting things out, like just randomly grew up in the same little town in Florida that you wouldn't think is even a thing because it's called Spring Hill. Most people don't even know where that is. Grew up, went to the same high school, didn't know each other. He's a couple years older than me. But now has become this amazing contact, this advocate that some of you who have me on LinkedIn and have me on social media might be seeing lots of things getting posting because Rhonda is the queen and is absolutely right. And I've learned a lot from listening to her, and I've actually done a lot by listening to her, is being present online and having that social credit. It all needs to happen, but unless you're in a room with people that actually are going to teach you or you can teach them, because I either want to be providing an impact to somebody or I want to be learning. That's my 2 pieces that I'm doing. So I'm always looking for conferences and networking groups and things that aren't the same thing I'm doing. So I'm always trying to branch out. What is that? What does that mean? I went to a business expo in Tampa locally, ended up on a panel And we didn't even talk about funding. It was I was there for like to talk about funding. It wasn't even what we talked about. We talked about social credit. And that landed me getting invited to speak at a local college. And where will that land next? I don't know. But by providing those pieces and pouring into it and actually being present. And so being in the room is only step one. Talking to people is great, but what do you do post? So what do you do after the event's over? How do you make that meaningful? Well, one of the easiest things is connecting with them in the various stratosphere of social media, but not just connecting, actually going in and reading the contribution to articles they made, liking the post that they're doing, commenting on the post that they're doing, because if you're pouring into them, it's going to come back. So all those relationships, that's how you reach out and say, hey, I saw that article. What can I do for you? Or when you see them next, I've invited random people to lunch with me at an event. Like, hey, let's go grab lunch really quick. I really loved what you said on stage. Can we have lunch really quick? And I just want to learn more about what you have going on. So the in-person stuff, as much as Zoom is this great thing where you can talk to so many people across even the pond. Definitely got some that I've talked to over in England and different areas over there, but it's just this people and this relationships. And I don't think you can truly get to the next level in business without it. So glad COVID's over. Hope we never see something like that again. Because I can definitely tell you that I just see so many things churning from putting myself out there and not being afraid of somebody saying, no, I'm busy. No, I can't. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm not interested. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep putting it out there. Rejection sucks, but it's just part of the world of being in business. And then the last piece I would say is a lot of these conferences, a lot of things are very good old boy style. There's a lot of ceilings that I have to get through. But I've done a really good job of making sure that I'm persistent in talking to those individuals or getting through the gatekeeper that's trying to stop me from talking to those individuals. And I've been super blessed to be able to walk up to somebody who is just like a mentor online to me that I've never actually met and be like, can I talk to you? Can I just pick your brain for a second? And it's crazy. She was like, yeah, absolutely. And now she's one of my closest contacts that I constantly reach out to and bounce ideas off of. And there's no money being exchanged. It's not even about that. But she's like me, just much wiser, much more successful, but she loves to pour into people. And I respect her for that. So having a mentor is huge in anything you're doing. And I wouldn't even have had that opportunity if I wasn't in that room, if I didn't join that group, if I didn't go to that conference. I limit it. I do one live event a month, basically, is my schedule. So like next week I'll be in Arizona. I'm gonna die because it's gonna be so hot. But I'm going. And it's an awesome females in real estate conference. I'm not in real estate, but it's a great opportunity. I'm gonna be able to speak with them about personal credit and the things that go into that and how that pours into business, but also talking about Gen Zers and leading Gen Zers, which is huge coming on. But these are opportunities that I've only gotten by being in the room. Every speaking engagement I've had recently has been from meeting somebody who's connected me to somebody, and it's all been relationships. And it's the key, and it's how Fund and Grow was built. Fund and Grow was built from RE Page's living room and no employees to over 50 employees and now generating over $1 million a month in revenue and generating 20 plus $1 million a month in funding. All of that was built on going to events, being in the room, relationship building, referral partners, and just pouring into other people as well, referring back and doing these things. So it's been amazing, but it's the backbone of this company, and it's definitely the backbone to even my own success in my journey on wherever I go next.
Any questions for Amanda?
I have a question. I second everything you said. I totally agree wholeheartedly. I just human connection is just everything. And yes, talking about yourself and not necessarily pitching is even better. I'm wondering, where do you find a lot of the conferences that you're going to? Like, where's the real estate one? That sounds amazing. Where's
That one's it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's on an Indian reservation outside of Scottsdale.
Oh, wow.
So that one came to me in a very weird, organic, lovely way. The person who runs it, it's the 18th annual. It's the Awesome Females in Real Estate, I believe is the actual title. And Bernice Ross, who runs it, she actually joined a webinar that I did for an affiliate and reached out personally through, I don't know, someone on my team. And I ended up on the phone with her. And she just was like, hey, I want you to come out here and talk about personal credit. It's so important in real estate. We need to talk about this. But normally how it works, because that was a great blessing, is that my EA, I have a full-time EA in the office. I don't have a VA, although I might think about that one day just for social media postings. But she actually does a ton of research and finds and gives me just lists and lists of events. And I go through and I handpick them. One of my favorite ones is the Small Business Expo. It goes to all different cities all over, and I love them. I've done Orlando, I'm doing Houston, and I'm doing Atlanta this year. New York is their flagship, and I missed it because it didn't fit with my schedule, and I was really upset because that's like their biggest one. So no, it's just finding different ones. I've got Limitless Expo. It's a financial freedom type of thing. It's got some real estate, some finance stuff mixed into it. That one was through a connection. My PR guy is absolutely amazing, and I like I said, I can't speak enough about him. He tends to find me stuff as well. But I also think once you start getting into it and thought, leadership and talking, it just all kind of like happens and it snowballs into it. So it's just been research. I don't know that I have the right way to do it other than we just scour. We just sit there and scour, and I've missed some because I'll find them like a week before they're happening, and that's not going to work.
Now, here's the amazing thing about Amanda. How many children do you have, Amanda?
I have 5 children.
And she does all this.
And they range from 2 years old to 16 years old.
Say what now? What? Oh, God bless you.
This is Pam, you do it all the time. No. So this is what it is, guys. This is the easiest
I think
thing.
it's great.
Any woman can understand this. 1 child is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie, right? 2, horrendous. Horrendous having 2 children. You're pushed into 2 different directions all the time. When you get to 3, you've already mastered the fact that you can't give them all your love, and it just becomes scheduling. It's just figuring out where they all need to go at what time. I know I have an amazing partner too. My husband's amazing, so I can't even say that. Although he's in the military and sometimes they take him away and I have to do it all with my mom's help, because I'm not going to say I do it all myself, because I don't. But no, I actually think being a mom of 5 has actually helped me run a company and do the things that I'm doing and put compartments in different areas and give all of my work children equal amounts of love. So I have 50 here I have to give equal love to, and then I have the 5 at home. No, I think women are just able to do it. I don't know. We're built very differently. My marketing team calls it big uterus energy. That's what I got for you.
I haven't heard that one before.
I love that. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
My
That's
producer's
wonderful.
dying right now. I'm in our studio right now. I came in here so he could record some of this, but he's over here dying right now that I even said that.
That is so funny. Any other questions for Amanda? Thank you, Amanda. I think that's fabulous. You're my hero. Alina, I want to hear, what are you up to? What are you working on right now? You're in real estate. What's going on?
Hi, everyone. I have a few listings on the market. I'm in Washington. I'm in like the Seattle area. You guys are familiar. I actually a couple years ago I started doing videos with a video producer, and then we turn it into like a podcast that I invite like and I do it all in person. I don't do anything like Zoom type of thing. It's all in person, and I interview people from, I've interviewed business brokers, insurance. I've been a short-term rental property manager. So kind of a lot in like sort of in my industry, but I do want to like explore other how those those people can kind of collaborate with me and get the word out to like other industries. So through High Rise, I met a guy named Seth. He's in our area. He's a business broker. So I interviewed him, and we have a deal happening right now. I'm handling the real estate portion of this project, and then he's doing the business aspect of it and stuff. So I am, I've done like anytime I have a listing coming up, I go to a neighborhood and I find like the most recent one. I haven't posted it yet, but most recent one I have is like have a listing like in the Ballard area of Seattle, and there's like a really, really adorable restaurant that it's like a neighborhood favorite. So I if I can, I will interview that company, that, restaurant or anything local. So if you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you're welcome to. And if you are ever in Seattle, I'd love to meet with you.
You have to
any
put
of
the
you
link.
in what area are you guys in? Looks
Yeah,
like
you have to
all
put
over.
the links in the chat for us because
Okay.
her videos are so high quality.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Pam.
I don't know
appreciate
how
it.
you put that all together, or whether you have a whole team of 20 people doing it, or whether you're just doing it, but you can see it. It's crystal
Thank
clear.
you.
The audio is great. It's very professional, and you have to watch them. They're on
Thank
LinkedIn, but YouTube, put all your links, your LinkedIn on there. Everybody put their LinkedIn in there.
Yeah.
And
I did put my YouTube or LinkedIn in there for sure, but yeah, I would love to, connect with you all on LinkedIn. I did put a link in there. So here's my YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos that will be posted, but I don't bombard them and post them all at once. So if you have any, I know that Twanda, you do podcasting. I guess I would call mine, I really can't call it a podcast, but sort of. Do you do it on video, or do you do it like or like just audio?
I just started doing it on video. I have the last two were on video, which need to go on YouTube. I have not placed them on there yet. So I do want to turn my podcast into a video. I'm working with someone that's helping me, but I commend you because yes, your YouTube page looks fabulous.
Thank you. Well, I found like years ago, we have a videographer. Well, actually it's a video production company. It's not very big. It doesn't sound that big. They have a studio. So if you find someone that's in your area that's got like a small studio, literally they have like maybe 1,000 square feet, and they have like kind of like studio rooms where you can record. They record with a professional camera. Like I do shoots on like on site, like we go places and stuff, but I like recording in studio because it's easier. We can coordinate all of that, but yeah.
Thank you.
It's not 20 people, Pam. It's literally just a few people.
you guys have to see our videos. They're amazing. I mean, they
Thank you
really
so
are
much.
very well done. And look, if you're going to do this, it should be professional, right?
Yeah, I was like, I commend people that do it with the phone. My house is not in the condition to do it like that, right? Like I like to get away from the house and do things away from in a professional setting. So I do them like every month religiously. Like I knock out about 8 videos, and so because now the world is online, it's people are more likely to watch a video than to read something, unfortunately. I mean, I'm like that.
100%. Do you want to read a book, or do you want to watch the movie? Right?
Oh, yep.
And it just makes it easier. June,
Yeah.
what are you up to in New York? What's going on with your business?
Hi, everybody. I am a loan officer at God Hill Financial, and I've been in the industry for, I'm afraid to say, but 30 years. So what's going on for me and my business is a reimagining of myself and a reimagining of, you know, where I want to see my career go from here. And I believe that, well, like everyone else said, in-person meetings are really key. I have found that, at least for myself, because of the pandemic, I had to get over the fear of being around people again. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but you know, being in a room with people was kind of scary there for a minute. So I had to sort of get over that. And I'm finding that that brings a depth of a relationship that you can't really get outside of in person. However, I believe that the online world isn't going away either. And I think that there has to be some sort of balance between the two. And I find for myself that to increase the outreach, I'm trying to be more visible online, posting on social media, and I am in the process of putting together a summit of a whole bunch of people that I'm going to be doing online as a legacy building practice, because I find that a lot of the information and things that I have that are second nature to me, most people don't know. And so I'm really trying to do that as a legacy building thing, and also as a way of getting in front of people and letting them know that I'm here and ready to serve. So those are certain things that I'm doing. I'm also reaching out to different organizations. Like, for example, I was just invited to join the Harlem YMCA. I don't live in Harlem, but they just came to me and said, you know, would you join and help us do some activities? Now, that's not directly related at all to what I do, but I believe that you never know what's going to come out of that. And so I'm certainly welcome. I'm interested, and I'm going forward to do it. And then I have to at some point reassess and see, you know, okay, what worked and what didn't. But right now I'm really just sort of reframing myself and getting in front of a new generation of people that they don't think the way that I do. They don't consume information the same way that I consume. I think of my own children, like my son, who's 21, has never once listened to a voicemail message. Like, if you leave one, forget it. Like, it just, you know, that's just like going into the void, never to return. So, but they do text each other. I mean, they communicate different ways. In fact, one of the things that drives me crazy is when him and his brother are in the room and they're sitting there having a conversation on their phone, right? And they're sitting across from each other. It just drives me batty, you know? But you know, this is how they behave, you know, this is how they that's their world. So I could, you know, I could make myself crazy and rail about it, you know, and sound like my mother, you kids, and all that kind of crazy. Or you can just sort of try to reimagine and find a way where, you know, you fit. So I that's what I've been up to.
That's a lot. Good for you. Amanda?
I was going to say, what you just said is hilarious, because the way that I bridge the gap with I only have one daughter and she's 16, and that's terrible. But, you know, the only way that I communicate with her effectively now is we just randomly send each other's reels from Instagram. We just keep sending reels back and forth that are funny. And it's like we're having whole conversations through reels. But it actually makes her, well, she'll sit next to me on the couch now and hang out with me. And we just sit there and find funny reels together, because it's just how it is. I don't know what else to do. And it's the only way I can like effectively communicate with my 16-year-old child. But it's so funny. And it made, you killed me. I was dying because I'm like, that's me. I'm sitting here having a conversation with my daughter next to me on the couch in Instagram reels.
Do you find that clients though now text you if they get your cell number? that they text you
Yes.
questions or?
Absolutely. Yes, they text me. I actually have had to sort of create boundaries around that. I mean, because people assume that if they text you at 10 o'clock at night, that, well, you are obligated on some level to respond. And no. But on the other hand, I do believe that texting people, it's immediate. Like if I want somebody to respond, I will text the client and they will respond much faster than email, I have found. So I'm really I don't overuse it, but it's amazingly effective.
It is. Heather Bennett, what's up in your world?
Hey, Pam. Hi, ladies. I'm in Dallas and an entrepreneur, but work across a couple of different industries and businesses. So my primary is manufacturing and in oil and gas. A lot of energy support businesses that I invest in and co-own a few, but work day to day, and a lot of them. And Amanda, you were talking about being in the room, and oil and gas is such a handshake, steak and potato industry. I mean, so much of it is still, I'm going to Houston weekly, typically, for meetings, and we do most of our work over dinner and old fashions and steak and dessert and appetizers and so I try to work out in my spare time, but I stopped at the terrible 2 children that you described. So I did not go on 2, 3, 4, 5. So my world is still split with 2 little boys and lots of travel for work. My formal background is all in public relations, communications, corp comm. My first kind of 13 years, and my last 13 years have been in energy and energy support companies and businesses, and launched a investment company. My partner and I invest in a lot of different areas, such as real estate and technology and healthcare. And that's been really interesting for me to kind of dabble in all these different areas that I wouldn't have ever gotten to touch with energy. So that's been a nice change, and that's really been the last strong 5 years probably. So I was taking notes on some of your different shows that you were mentioning and things, because I would love to branch out. I hit some kind of angel investor events from time to time in different markets, pretty much Southeast region, done a little bit in New York, but mainly Midwest, Southeast region primarily is where we focus. And and then manufacturing, which is its own kind of antiquated dinosaur, and trying to figure out how AI is going to really take over that world, and robotics and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure I answered your question, Pam. There's a lot going on always.
You have a lot. We had somebody from Texas giving advice to everybody in the group the other day, and he was talking about networking with people in Texas, and he would go hunting with them for 3 days and sit in a blind, whatever that is. And he would go golfing with them. And I thought, I would be out of luck in Texas. I don't golf and I don't hunt.
Yeah. So all the refiners and chemical plants along the coast of Louisiana, we go shoot. So there's a lot of sporting clays. So I'm actually a really good shooter.
Yep.
I'm a pretty good shot, and or we fish. We go on tuna trips and things out of the Gulf, and then in Houston, anything along the ship channel down in that area, we just do a lot of eating and drinking.
Wow, you do it all.
Pam, a blind is just a very simple camouflage tent that you can shoot out of.
Yes. They sit there for 3 days, he said. Yeah. He sits there with a client 3 days.
I've sat in a tree stand for a good 12 hours a day.
You're braver than me. I've been on really bad overnight tuna trips, but I will not sit in a tree stand.
I've done both. I'm in Florida, so I've done all the things. But hey, I'll be in Dallas end of next month. Limitless is in Dallas. It's at the Gaylord.
Okay.
The Gaylord Resort, right there in Dallas, is where Limitless will be. It's a 3-day event, I want to say, like the very end of August.
Okay.
So
I'll look it up and I'll connect with you. I would love to grab a coffee if I'm in town.
Yeah, it should be a big event. And then I'll be in Houston twice this year. I'll be in Houston.
I'm there all the time.
September. It's a marketing and AI event. and then the Business Expo, just the regular business, Small Business Expo in Houston as well.
Amazing. Denise Gelfand, what are you up to?
Well, I'm really up to building this post PEO company. It's such a niche business, but I come out of being very consultative with businesses and business owners, and I came out of the PEO world, and I don't know if all of you know what a professional employer organization is, but companies like ADP Total Source, Insperity, TriNet, when a company gets to be at least like 50 or more employees, it's very expensive to be in one of those PEOs, and typically the benefits aren't being realized. And so we created Post PEO to really help these companies transition smoothly out of the PEO and bring in all of the workers' comp, the benefits, the HR consulting that they may need, and the payroll resources, so that they can really operate without the PEO and save a lot of money. So doing a lot of networking right now, trying to, a lot of our centers of influence really are insurance brokers on the benefit side and the P&C side, HR consultants, fractional CFOs, COOs, anybody that's really touching businesses that might be in a PEO. So I always get pretty surprised finding these companies that are 100. I mean, I'm working with a company right now that's a food manufacturing company, and they haven't totally committed yet to exiting, because we always do an initial cost savings analysis for them to show them what they're really paying for and what it would cost to come out on the administrative side. But they have 250 employees. They're going to add another 200. And I'm thinking, what are you doing with ADP Total Source? I mean, they are spending over close to $1 million a year to be with ADP Total Source. And it's amazing to me. I mean, we had a bank that we saved $600,000 with 150 employees. So it's a very niche market, and it's a little, it's been, we're a year and a half old. And so just finding those centers of influence to bring the opportunities to us has, it's a new venture. So it takes.
I'm curious, in the last couple of days, you went to guest
Yes.
in person and you guested online. Which was more successful?
I definitely loved guesting in person. I think meeting people in person is always much better. But we're not just, I mean, I'm in California, I'm in Southern California, but so we're national. I could work with a company anywhere. They don't have to be here local, although I love that local feel, and being able to, to your point, Heather, sitting down, having dinner or lunch and drinks, and, just really developing that relationship. And it's funny because I love building relationships, and even like this prospect with the 250 employees, he reached out, and I'm always looking at my phone for emails and stuff just to make sure I don't miss anything. And he sends me an email on the 4th of July at I think it was 9 p.m. It happened to come through, and I was looking at 10 o'clock before I was going to go to sleep or something. And I answered him, and I thought, he probably thinks I'm a nut. Like, I'm just answering him on July 4th at 10 o'clock at night. And it was funny because he was asking me about having a resource for a PAGA lawsuit and somebody that could talk to them about compliance. And so I set up a whole meeting for him. But I think that's what I love. What I do most is I have such a vast toolbox, really, of resources that can be beneficial to a business owner, that once I develop that relationship and we start talking, it always leads into something else. And it actually led to a referral for one of the guys that was at the Sherman Oaks Encino
Wow.
one. So I was like, and it was another guy who guested at ours. And I thought, I got to connect these two people because of what they both do. So yeah, I love that part of what I do.